Everyone can see the screen?
Yep.
Okay.
I only see half of it. I'm just kidding.
Wait, I
I'm
was about
kidding.
to
I'm
say.
kidding.
Hold up, I don't see
Oh god, not that again.
it.
Good.
See?
You take them. I get Pops a long, hard stare. I couldn't do anything about it even if I tried. Lack of sleep hindered my movements, accumulated in dark bags under my eyes. Every time I tried to smile, I looked like an absolute madman.
Don't be like that. A drink? I think I have some Belgian ale lying around the fridge.
That's 9. Please, I had to drive later. We were sitting in a smoking area of a furniture workshop, counting cars that had New Year's trees tied to their roofs, almost like captive beauties to an original skewer. People only started caring about the holidays right before the eve, so they were selling like hotcakes at a triple price. Some of the beauties had already exposed an inexcusable amount of bare skin. Nicolas chewed on his pipe, let out a thick cloud of smoke. I pushed a fat envelope towards him. It contained 5 years of my labor, 5 years of insomnia, as well as my endless gratitude. Seeing how reluctant he was to accept the money, I laid back my chair. They're working the forest again. Saw equipment near the edge of it recently.
Blasphemers. Spent too much time outside today.
I didn't catch that final line, just said it.
Visitors coming.
Come on, there's nothing about that in the forecast. The old man held a mysterious pause. Hey, Pops. Do you really believe in it?
It's 10. Don't you?
Nah, that's in the realm of fairy tales.
Do they report?
You got cut off for some reason.
They report on fairy tales often in the press?
Fear takes molehills from mountains. It's just your average bear. Reporters will eat up anything, since it can rarely scrape even 6 pages worth of material.
The second grew. The third. All of them scared shitless by an average bear. So, go tell that to the hunks who went in armed to the teeth and came back with tails between their legs.
11. Well, you live there, so you tell me. Were you there at the time?
Maybe I was. Hard to tell. You ask. Right?
I'm just curious.
You bear no ill will. You have nothing to fear.
I'm not scared, I'm telling you. I lazily waved the old man away. During my 5 years living in the middle of the forest, I'd never encountered anything supernatural. I did meet a lot of bears. They were the real threat. We would take it or not. Nicolas ignored my question.
Elf. Said your ma will be coming for a business trip. Where is she?
She'd already been in town for 2 days. I hesitated for a moment.
Hey. Wrong.
She's always too busy. Do you think there's much work for a lawyer in the country?
Fine, no.
We barely talked, even though I called her a number of times. I also have no idea where she's staying at. I can't even go pick her up. She says she'll come by a corporate car. I'm tired of this and don't want to seem clingy.
She was the one to suggest celebrating New Year together, though.
I thought she was lonely at first. Acted like a happy fool. Now I'm convinced it's just her guilty conscience.
Don't fret. Every parent is lonely without their child. As cold-hearted as they get, but I miss my offspring. It'll be alright once you meet her. What was it? 13?
Then why would you contact the offspring of yours? Nicholas scratched his beard.
Son, wife, every earthly blessing upon her are my total opposites. In forest spirit, you see. They abhor living in the wilderness among us rednecks. I don't intrude. The granddaughter is always more than enough for me. Wonderful lass. That's where my blood flows deep. Tomboyish, rebellious hands of gold. On your age.
I already knew all of that. I've been working with Pops for years. He told me a myriad stories. Half of them involved that girl. Nicholas let out a dreamy sigh.
Wonder what she looks like right now. She remember riding on Grand's back.
Probably. Childhood is the most memorable part of one's life. The old man started reminiscing. I had no desire to join him. I tapped my finger on the table. 14. Just take it.
Now, will you?
Be as mad as you like, but I just can't sleep well knowing I have such a huge debt to pay off. Truth be told, my debt to this man was indescribably large. I was hellbent on returning the monetary part of it, at the very least. The house. Oh,
House is gift.
the money is also a gift. Declining a gift on New Year's Eve is, in your own words, a blasphemy.
You little bugger.
He shot me a look full of distrust, and I fabricated the sorriest expression I could muster.
Alright, but not a penny more.
Finally, I heaved a sigh of relief. My last bit of strength left me as the air left my lungs. I stopped resembling a human being altogether. I spread all over the chair like a amoeba, half asleep.
Guess I'll be celebrating alone this year.
Sorry. I promise you. Though, as soon as that woman disappears like she always does, I'll bring a box of the best cider I can find. I'm not gonna leave until we finish it.
Just call that woman, you numbskull. Remember picking up a little crybaby who always missed his mommy. What was his name again? Andrew.
Alright, I get it.
Don't worry, I have my own business to attend to. On the eve. Let's get into my old costume and children at the square to some candy.
I could hardly part my eyelids. Spruces kept passing by the window, but I already lost count of them. 17, 19. Nicholas had also forgotten about our little game. Just don't do anything illegal, okay? Won't be able to get you out of jail tonight. Nicholas burst with laughter. I was ready to be absorbed into the chair, and the only thing keeping me above its surface was a particular feeling I couldn't suppress. Hey, Pops. Thank you.
What are you talking about?
I mean, seriously. Thank you. He went silent for a moment, seemingly embarrassed, then tapped my shoulder.
Sure to wake you up later. Did a damn good job.
At that point, I fell asleep.
Baby boy, get up. You go before it gets dark.
Felt like I spent at least 2 hours dreaming away.
Here. This. Key to the cellar. It's full of junk, but We'll also find some holiday stuff there, toys and such. Make your guest happy. May even strike up a decent conversation while getting the tree all pretty. And then, see you next year.
And I took off. The seat felt freezing cold, especially after getting out of that warm, comfy chair. The truck's heater was barely enough to save my hands and feet from going numb. Of all the places I visited in my life, this town, the coldest in the whole country, and full of worn-down huts and small apartment complexes, extended me the warmest of welcomes. The extreme cold was nothing out of ordinary here. Just a single, somewhat warm month for the entire year. Out of 11, you could characterize as severe frost or freezing cold. People here were hard to read. They seemed rude at first glance, but were actually very open and strong-willed, and boiling blood, as tough as the local weather. They cried and laughed equally loud. They supported and taunted each other, like one close-knit family. Although I mostly spent my time either in the house in the middle of the forest or at the old man's workshop, I really liked to visit the market or the hockey field from time to time. They were always crowded, and I think there left an impression of sincerity and hospitality that you won't be able to find anywhere else in the world. Every New Year's Eve, the new and prominent street was decorated with lights of all sorts. The storefronts were plastered with paper snowflakes, the kind kids make in kindergarten. A giant tree in an ice town that would be set up in Central Square. A town that could last up to half a year, thanks to the cold and the polar night. Stalls with all sorts of hot drinks and food also grew up around the town, like mushrooms after the rain, and children, along with their not-so-sober parents, rode in reindeer carriages. I was there once with Nicolas. I'll surely remember that day for the rest of my life, even though it won't be for the whole atmosphere. I live outside of town and spend a lot of time in my car, but at least I sleep in a warm bed. Much better compared to the cramped shed at the workshop. Nicolas would even sleep in a smoking area, sitting. The road I used every day was called the Bear Trail. It got the name of the incident that occurred 10 years ago when the forest was scheduled for a cut down. Something went wrong day one. Woodcutters were scared off by a ferocious roar, which, if one was to believe them, made the whole forest tremble and broke down their equipment. Some even claimed to see a giant bear 6 meters tall. The higher-ups decided that the whole crew was drinking too much, so they hired a new one, but they also didn't last long. In the end, the idea of cutting down that forest was put off for an indefinite period of time. The time ended now. Brand new worker housing and equipment could be seen at the forest entrance. Woodcutting crews were smoking outside the canteen while staring at the thicket. I was skeptical towards these kinds of tales. I was still somewhat intrigued by them. Like a child who knew that Santa Claus wasn't real, I still waited for presents to magically appear under a tree every year. Obviously, Nicolas warned me about everything before handing out the keys to the house. I was a regular guest at his place. I'd never seen this 6 meters tall bear. According to my calculations, a bear this size would be able to move unhindered in such a thick forest. No less hiding in it, normal bears would be another matter entirely. I met them quite often, so I bought myself a gun. This one time I had to sit locked up in my car for 2 hours straight. I waited until the bear would stop trying to break into the car and go his own way. I even waited 30 more minutes to make sure it wasn't coming back. I had another such guest today. It was obvious from the tracks still fresh in the snow. John paused led straight to my front door. The veranda was empty. I listened closely. There was no unnecessary sound, only spruces crackling from the cold. I threw my gun over the shoulder, snatched the plastic bags, and ran towards the house. The beast was probably still nearby, searching for shelter or food. I had no intention of providing it either. Be it the ham I carried it, or my own meat. The lock was intact, as was the door, which meant I didn't try to break into the house. Maybe he just went over the rails and continued on? I locked the door from the inside and looked out the window. I caught a glimpse of something moving between the tree trunks in the distance. I quickly persuaded myself that This was the beast disappearing back inside with relief. My numb hands were difficult to control. Magazines and tissues flew into the fireplace. They would be perfect fuel to start the fire. So it took me 5 matches to be successful, though. My fingers tingled a little. Well, seemed like I wouldn't lose my hands just yet. Still some fire left in me. The moment I said that, darkness descended upon me with a clank. I woke up from the pain in the back of my head. That meant I was knocked out by something heavier than a simple headache. The clang came from a lifesaver in the field of scrambled eggs and fried potatoes. A cast iron firing pan. Someone who uses things like that for, not so, gentle persuasion certainly doesn't have any good intentions. My vision gradually came back. For a while I couldn't make out a clear silhouette behind the colorful mess, but then I saw a girl crouching before me, with a gun in her hands. My gun. I was staring down its barrel, and the girl was staring at me, intently, without blinking. Well, not much fire left now. I figured I was clutching the trigger had moved. I shut my eyes, ready to pass on to the other side, but the shot never came. The girl was hindered by mittens. The gun consistently slipped out of her hands, and she tried to get a firmer grip on it, risking to blow my head clear off every time she did that. Her eyes were accusing me of some heinous crime, and I felt deeply ashamed, even though I didn't know exactly how I wronged her. She kept on being silent, and no words either. Was that the girl or me?
Maybe the girl?
Okay, Natalie, go for it.
It's pretty cold outside, isn't it?
Please don't kill me.
Care for some tea?
What a way to start a conversation. The ring in my ears wasn't helping either. Hello? I tried to make the first step. The girl's eyes went wide, but she clutched the gun even harder. Did I do something wrong?
I don't know. Yet.
Her voice was full of seething hostility, as if a gun pointed at my face wasn't enough to show her intentions. You would never know, you shoot me!
Do you take me for a murderer?
I think my statement just now made her furious. Then why do you keep that thing pointed at me?
I just don't know what to expect from you.
I can assure you, I didn't plan anything criminal. I just wanted to come back home and...
Is this the bear corner?
I figured it was futile to argue about being interrupted. It then caught my attention. I remember Nicolas giving the house that name when it was still in their planning phase. That's right,
Why do you call it your home?
'cause I do live here? She stared at me with distrust. Please, would you lower that gun? It would make the conversation so much more comfortable for both of us. She hesitated for a moment, but then swiftly grabbed the pan and rushed to the other side of the room.
No sudden moves.
Can I, at the very least, stand up? She curtly nodded and slowly stood up. The ears were ringing and my brain felt like mashed potatoes, even though I couldn't feel any bumps in my head. Now she was eyeing me cautiously. I could move freely and was much larger and stronger than her. I kept my distance so I wouldn't scare her into doing something rash and unreasonable. She didn't look like a thief or a harmful person in general, but that didn't explain what business she had in these parts. Let's start from the beginning. Name's Andrew. I've been living in this house for 5 years. Today, I drove here in my car. Unlocked the door with my key like I always do and got head over the head with a frying pan. What's your story?
5 years?
Come on, couldn't you at least give me your name?
How is that possible? And what about...
She sank to the floor, color draining from her face.
It can't be.
My lady guest gave the room a look over and started crying.
I was too late.
Her every sob echoed painfully inside my head. It was almost as if my eardrums were being scratched by sandpaper. I tried to gather my thoughts, but they were scattering about like frightened rabbits. I have to give her credit for still holding on to that frying pan, though. Can I help you in any way?
How long ago? No, the previous owner. Where can I find his?
His what? His workshop? She had to squeeze the words out of herself. They were basically drowning in a sea of tears. When I was finally able to piece the puzzle together, it hit me. Too late. She presumed him to be dead. It all made sense now. There's no way a random person could find his house and worry about some stranger. I think there's some sort of misunderstanding. Nicolas is alive and well. He's just not living here anymore. The sobs stopped. The only hiccups disturbed the silence of the room. I was just ready to relax, but the house shook from another wave of tears.
What a relief!
Please stop crying. Everything's fine. I was never taught how to deal with situations like that. How should I calm her down? Did she have some sort of switch for that? A stop word, maybe? I wanted to help her up, but she went completely silent as soon as I took a single step. An eerie silence. Even the hiccups were gone.
Your distance.
I took a step back. She resumed crying. I took a step forward. She went silent once again.
You're playing with fire. I'm still the one with the gun.
Hey, let's deal without threats. I just want to help you. It's not a good idea to sit on the cold floor. She sprang to her feet.
Now can you move away?
As you wish. Not very sociable, are you?
Well, sorry for not letting total strangers into my personal space. And from the two of us, I believe you're the one who decided to seclude yourself in the middle of the forest. So who are you to comment on my social skills?
I wanted to retort, but my thoughts were cut short by a strange sound. My guess was obviously hungry.
You did not hear that, all right? Where do I find Grandpa? Is he in town?
He lives in an old workshop. It's on. She shut the door on me. Such poor manners. Did she just up and leave? I checked inside my pockets. The car keys were there. The gun and the pan were also left behind. What a crazy woman. Mind telling me where are you going? I got up to her near the fence.
Town.
No hesitation. You're Julia, right? Nicolas' granddaughter?
I don't remember telling you my name.
Yeah, it's very nice to meet you as well.
Are you stalking me?
Just a heads up. You were the one to sneak into my house.
Be glad it was just me. Why are you following me? Think I owe you an apology or something?
No, that wasn't my intention at all.
Alright. Sorry, I didn't have to attack you there. I was just scared, that's all.
You did it from behind, with a frying pan.
I'm sorry! I really am!
I don't need your apologies.
Then what do you want? Are you a predator or something?
Did you leave your car nearby?
No, actually, I'm not sure.
Not sure. How you get to town without it then?
On foot?
Listen, I don't know how you got here, but we're in the middle of a forest. The town is at least 30 kilometers away, so you don't come back to the house, there's a high chance you'll get lost. Julia just chuckled in reply. You get eaten by a bear or simply freeze to death.
I'll be okay. I'm safe here.
Why are you so sure? Mysterious silence followed. I turned back. My house was already hidden behind a row of trees. Snowfall was so heavy I couldn't see a thing. It was dangerous to venture any further. Besides, I wasn't wearing much and the cold was starting to getting to me. Hey, it's not like I know the forest that well and... Sun streaked behind me. Julia slipped up and rolled down a small hill. Neither do you, it seems. She stood up, and brush the snow off her clothes.
This trail is supposed to be a shortcut, if I remember correctly.
You don't seem extremely confident. Let's get back into the house and think it out. Believe me, traveling on foot is a bad idea.
And why should I trust you?
Because it's a reasonable thing to do, no?
You're a stranger.
She gave me a scrutinizing look. Let's go. Pops would never forgive me if he knew I let you go.
Why Pops?
What do you mean?
Are you guys close enough for you to call him that?
We're colleagues or friends.
You should have said that earlier!
There's no trace of hostility left in Julia's facial expression.
So that's who Grandpa is friends with.
It's almost as if she was happy to see me now. I'm his only friend, really.
Why?
I promised to tell you everything, but let's just return to the house first.
When I was little, we would always take walks here. There should be a shortcut around here.
I know where it is. You don't seem to remember either. Pop said there would be a blizzard. Advised me to be careful.
Well, it's not that cold yet.
Was she that brave or just plain stubborn?
But if Grandpa said there will be a blizzard, we should probably stay inside.
She nodded and flashed me a charming smile.
Let's go.
Sure. You seem to be hungry. Pizza?
I'd love to have some.
It was warm and cozy inside. Luckily, I managed to lit up the fireplace before getting smacked over the head. She get close to the fire, warm herself up. Quite easy to lose your limbs to hypothermia in these parts.
I have this winter hat and these mittens. You're the one neglecting your own health.
Well, everything just happened so quickly. I hope you don't mind if I put the gun somewhere more safe. I mean...
Oh, of course. And I'm really sorry. If I knew you were a friend, I wouldn't have acted that way.
Should I write it on my face? The girl laughed.
Maybe you should. I took you for a burglar at first.
Julia had already taken off her coat, restraining up her sweater. I was finally able to take a good look at her. She was pretty, and thank heavens, didn't inherit any features from Pops. No, apart from the eyes. A burglar who comes here by car, opens the house with a key, and gets inside to warm himself up. How did you decide to arm yourself with a gun?
I'm always a bit confused when I come to my senses. Sometimes it makes me do or say strange things. The house hadn't changed much, so I assumed that Grandpa still lived here and you were a nasty trespasser.
It's true that I had no chance to remodel the house, so it's a bit tight on time. By the way, what do you mean by when it comes to my senses? Took a pizza from the fridge and shoved it into the microwave.
It's a bit complicated, and a very long story, so to speak.
We have plenty of time on our hands. She heaved a deep sigh.
Promise me you won't laugh. I've been sleepwalking since I was 13. I would just go outside and set out in a random direction. It was a sight to behold for people passing by. And it was impossible to wake me up. Absolutely impossible. So someone would just lead me to a safe place, like the police or the hospital.
Nothing to laugh at so far.
I can stop if you want.
No, please, continue.
So, my parents decided to put me under lock and key. They set up cameras and locked the door to my room. Mom even showed me the records once. I just stood in pitch black darkness and turned the doorknob. It was so spooky.
I bet it was.
The seizures continued for a while, and then suddenly stopped. Seems like the other me who was taking control at night gave up. I forgot about my night strolls for a while, as did my parents. My habits returned when I started living alone next October, though. I I used to wake up in the forest or at the lakeside, a long way from home, sometimes even tens of kilometers away. And now, I'm here.
And where are you from?
Orenburg.
What? That Orenburg? From the southern border? Really? It's at least 2,000 kilometers away.
Is pizza ready?
Huh, that's right. Took out the plate, handed it to Julia. She carefully took a slice of pizza and put it in her mouth.
You're so hot!
No need to rush. So, you came all the way from Orenburg?
Seems like it.
How did you get here?
I don't know. What's the date, by the way?
December 31st? Julia's mouth went agape as she dropped the slice she was holding.
You must be joking.
I swear.
Oh God! I was away for a month!
Do you really expect me to believe you got here in a month, sleepwalking all the way?
My parents must be worried sick! What a disaster!
I sighed. Her story is so hard to believe.
I have to call Mom! I'll say I went to go see my friend in the country. No, she of all people would know I have no friends like that! I seem to have lost my phone to boot.
My head is splitting open with pain again. You can use mine. Just please, calm down.
Really? I owe you one.
Julia clutched the phone and ran outside. I finally picked up the plastic bags that were sitting by the front door. The chicken was already thawing. Hope Julia won't wander into the forest again. A muffled voice could be heard from outside. She was saying something about the boonies, bad reception, and memory loss. I had to call Pops and ask him to pick her up. I almost forgotten how busy I was myself. How much I needed done before Mom came to visit. I didn't even know how soon she was going to come. Gotta contact her as well. Julia returned, visibly exhausted.
Well, it didn't go that bad. I was able to persuade her that I'm alright. What a nightmare. A month of my life just poof, gone.
I was expecting you to come for New Year's Eve.
My parents don't celebrate. They don't even set up a tree. They're always going on business trips, so they don't spend that much time at home anyways. And that means I'm always all alone during the holidays. I still love that time of the year, though.
No, at least it's nice that your mom worries about you.
Isn't that true for every mom?
Not for mine, at the very least. Julia wanted to say something but hesitated. She probably had more questions but was afraid to sound rude, which is rather amusing considering she was the one to smack me with a frying pan just a while ago. Want to call Pops? He'll be delighted to hear you.
Yeah, I probably should. I miss him so much. Wait, what if we surprise him?
Wouldn't your presence here be enough for a surprise?
I mean, is there a chance I can see him?
Out of question. The trip would take too much time and I'm expecting guests.
Sorry, that was brazen of me.
Not brazen as pointing a gun at my face. Though I have to admit, her confidence level dropped at least 2 folds from the faithful moment of our meeting. Now she just kept on fixing her hair. Ours probably too harsh. No, not at all. I'll drive you there any other day. You're Nicolas' granddaughter, after all, but today...
I understand.
Julia rubbed her brow. You mind if I make a call?
No problem. Should I leave?
You don't have to, I just need to check on something real quick. Julia nodded. I dialed Mom's number and turned away reflexively. I didn't expect much. Wasn't even sure if she'd pick up. I was ready to hang up and shoot her a message when the call suddenly connected. Nika?
You're muted, Nika.
Oh, sorry. I was talking to nobody. Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
Cold as ever. When will you be coming?
Well, as soon as I finish.
Got it.
Andrew,
What?
you are right.
And are you generally interested? Everything's fine.
I,
Be careful on the road. It's gonna be a blizzard. I dropped a call as you were saying something. This will put her in my shoes for once. I had my trolling hands up to the pockets. Turned back and was met with a judgmental look on Julia's face.
I hope you weren't talking to your mom right now.
Oh, are you gonna teach me how to deal with my own mother?
Seems to me like you hate her.
Don't blow that proportion. Don't look at me like I'm some sort of monster. You don't have the full picture.
I'm only talking about what I see, and I'm more than willing to listen to your side of the story.
No, you're talking about something you have absolutely no idea about. Do I look like I need a shoulder to cry on?
I'm not going to pity you.
She gazed at me intently. I couldn't suppress a nervous smile.
As you wish. Seems like it's easier for you to open up to a rock rather than another human being, which would be such a shame to let someone know you can be vulnerable, right?
She extended her hand towards me, waiting for the phone.
We'll have to do without surprises.
What's going on? Am I really that repulsive? My relationship with my mom is my own business. Why would I confide to a stranger? Why am I even worried? Who cares about what she thinks? I surely don't. Maybe. Some time passed, but Julia wasn't coming back. She was still lively while talking to her mom, but now I couldn't hear a thing. I clearly made a mistake. Julia had nothing to do with me, and mom not getting on well was straight up rude. She most likely meant no harm. She had Pop's blood in her. Would also scold me all the time. Hope she won't take everything to heart. Still, that look in her eyes. Does she despise me so much? The front door opened without a sound. Cold wind made my skin tingle. Julia's face was red for some reason. Everything okay?
Yeah, I guess.
Sorry, I went a bit too far. I didn't mean to offend you.
I'm sorry as well. Should have minded my own business. So it's my own fault.
She covered her face for a hand. Something wrong?
No, I mean, I'm fine.
How's Pops? Did you talk to him?
Yeah, you were right. He was delighted to hear me. Said he'd come as soon as he finishes some business in the workshop.
What's the deal this time? I thought we finished everything by now. Julia averted her gaze.
I didn't pry.
Well, anyways, that's good news. If you wish, you could...
Can I use your bathroom?
Huh?
Sorry, it may sound strange, but I don't remember when was the last time I took a shower. It'd be so cool to do some laundry.
Sure, it's on the second floor. Well, you should already know that. Bathrobes and such are in the closet. Fresh towels are on the left, and you want a hairdryer.
I think I'll manage. Sorry for the trouble.
She nodded in gratitude and went upstairs, trying to hide her beet red face under her hair. I shook my head. What happened to her? She didn't want to as much as look at me a minute ago, and now... Did Pops tell her something about me? Little geezer, gossiping again. It's not like I wanted her to hate me, and she was acting rather cute. Besides, did she just go to shower knowing there's no one but me in 50-kilometer area? I'm not some sort of barbarian, but a man nonetheless. Me being friends with Pops was not a reason to be so relaxed. I also hoped she wouldn't open the bottom drawer. I shooed away any awkward thoughts. I should have offered her a change of clothes. My washing machine could dry, but it would take a lot of time. I also really wanted to see her in one of my t-shirts. It was hot inside and I needed to air the room and clean up a bit. I just noticed how messy my place was. It's hard to spot the mess when it gradually grows, but now, looking at it with fresh eyes, I understood the full magnitude of the tragedy. My workplace was buried underneath wood chips. Garbage bags were sitting in my room for ages. I was so used to stepping over them that I no longer noticed them. All my dishes were in the sink rather than on the shelves, soaking in still water. Wait, was that mold growing over there? I felt disgusted by myself. Good thing my mom wasn't here to witness this nightmare. I started with the kitchen, gathered everything that missed the garbage bin due to my impeccable aim, washed all the dishes, and went over the shelves with a wet cloth. It actually felt quite refreshing. The dust here seemed to be ages old, I was so sure I cleaned everything just a month ago. I could drown in filth just by being in this house for a while. When I finished cleaning the first floor, my truck's trunk was filled with 8 garbage bags, one of which was filled strictly with plastic bottles. There was much less garbage from the second floor, probably because I rarely visited. So all I really needed to do was getting rid of the dust and ripping out the pillows. I got to work, and after some time, I heard the shower door creak a little. Welcome back.
Thanks. You've done a good job. When I lived here back in the day, we used to boil water specifically to shower.
Yeah, the good old days. Every modern household here has their own personal boiler.
I see.
Did you find anything? Did you find everything?
Yeah. I knew our washing machine could dry, but I never tried it myself. I had to dig the manual for some info.
This was bad. She did open the bottom drawer after all. Now that was awkward. Julia was blushing again and wanted to throw myself out the window. We stood still and studied the floor for what seemed like an eternity. Then she finally spoke up.
You've been cleaning? That's a good idea. Can I help you somehow?
There's really no need to.
Please, I'll have nothing to do until Grandpa comes anyways. At least that way I'll do something useful.
I was grateful for her attempt to dispel the awkward atmosphere, so I decided not to protest. Well, it would be great if you could dust the pillows lying in the corner behind the curtains. Julia lifted the curtains.
That's my nest.
Your nest?
I used to drag everything I deemed interesting in here, so my grandma called me a magpie, and this place she called my nest. This was my bedroom.
Is it a bit cramped for a bedroom?
As if you'd understand, this was a royal chamber for a little girl. So, let's get to it.
Do you think it's a good idea to go outside just after the shower?
Well, it's just for a bit. The clothes dry much faster when you wear them.
How should blame me to catch a cold?
You act like an old man. What are you, 80? You look like you're in your early 20s. Don't tell me you've never jumped into snow after the banya.
I never had, as a matter of fact. I gave up. Julia scooped up the pillows and ran downstairs. I was rummaging through the closet when I heard strange sounds coming from outside. Julia threw pillows around, beat them against each other, and covered them in snow. I kept on sneezing. You could hardly call it dusting, but I couldn't help but smile since she was so enthusiastic about it. My phone rang. It was my mom. My teeth clenched involuntarily, as hard as a bear trap. I didn't pick up, but not because I didn't want to talk. Quite the contrary. I wanted to vent everything I was holding in for 8 years. I wanted to shower her with all my anger and spite. I was sure I would feel better, but I chickened out. I was afraid I would regret it.
Why are you so gloomy? Who called?
I didn't notice her coming back. Good thing I didn't pick up and she didn't hear what was on my mind. Julia was strangely worried about my problems. Wrong number. You done?
Sir, yes, sir. Well, actually, no.
Snowflakes sparkle in her hair.
I'll clean up the nest. Promise me you won't go in until I finished, okay?
Sure thing. She disappeared behind a curtain, humming some unfamiliar tune. I got back to my own duties, and then I heard something crack. What are you doing there? Peeling out wallpaper?
Mind your own business!
So I shouldn't worry. No reaction. Let's go over to Shells when she had finally stopped struggling. Can I go in now?
No, not yet.
But you seem to be finished.
I'm most certainly not. Just wait a bit longer. Scrub the floor for now. I stepped in something in here.
What arrogance. Yet, the floor is definitely in need of some scrubbing.
That's all. Go in.
And look behind the curtain. Julia was lying her back straight. The light from the old lamp was trembling slightly, as it would die out at any moment. Wow, you aligned the pillows. Good job. Good job.
Come here.
She patted the pillow beside her. I shot a quizzical look.
Hey, I'm not suggesting anything strange. Come on, lie down. Don't be afraid.
I'm not the one who should be afraid. I crawled towards Julia without arguing.
Hey, be careful with my hair.
Sorry.
Are you ready?
I shrugged. Not exactly sure what to expect. She flicked a switch. Wow. The lights went out. In a second, the oblique ceiling was lit up with a bunch of bright colors. I gasped in surprise.
I did peel off the wallpaper. Yeah.
What's this? Ow.
Fluorescent paint. When I was little, Grandma used to draw with me a lot. This wall, or rather ceiling, became our canvas. Did you know she was an artist?
No, Pops always closed it off whenever he remembers her.
Do all men find it so hard to open up? Look, there's a squirrel in the corner. We met it in the forest and I drew this on the same day.
Looks like a rat.
Looks like a rat.
Well, all rodents look alike.
And what's up with its tail?
What's up with this tail? What's up with its tail?
Stop it. I was really bad at drawing back then. I still am, to be honest.
Julia's drawings were easy to spot, uneven, scrawny, a lot of unwanted details. My grandma's were the exact opposite. Simple but artsy. And who's this girl riding a bear? You? Julia mumbled something to herself.
I don't remember. Maybe Grandma drew it.
Why'd you cover them up? Julia sighed.
When she died, I couldn't sleep here, so I always went downstairs to Grandpa, who was working through the night to get his mind off things. He put wallpaper over the paintings to ease my pain as well, but I just couldn't force myself to come back.
Do you miss her?
I see her in my dreams fairly often, even talk to her. Sometimes it's very hard to wake up.
Julia sniffled. She did as quietly as possible, but I was too close to miss it. I could feel the smell wafting from her hair, warm and fuzzy, an aroma unlike any shampoo.
Okay, now it's your turn to tell a story.
She's trying to be upbeat and cheerful, but her trembling voice gave her away. My turn, huh? What story can I tell?
Well, what's up with your mom?
Look, it's a very long story.
Hey, my 2 stories were fairly long as well. Can't you just give me that one in return?
2? When was that?
My grandma and my sleepwalking.
She was right. Heard a lot about Julia even before we met. Now I knew even more. But it was still a complete mystery to her. I like listening to her speak. It was only fair to return the favor. Share my honest thoughts wasn't such a bad idea, was it? Probably. Where do I start?
Okay, start from the beginning. How did you two meet?
Oh, it was on a sunny summer day. Julia burst into laughter. The tension hanging in the air was gone in a flash. I had a wonderful family, to be frank. I was sure of it. Such a warm and loving family was very rare among my peers at the time. Dad tried to spend most of his free time with me and my mom. I was to support him. I was the happiest boy on the planet. Every day was fantastic. I couldn't imagine it being any other way. Julia held her breath, listening closely. And then Dad was gone, and the magic atmosphere went away with him. I was 14 at the time.
Ah, the difficult age.
Turned out, the boys who weren't as pampered as me matured a lot faster. I was an outcast, too soft and naive. Dad's death became a catalyst for their bullying. Children tend to be cruel, you know? I later understood that they were jealous. They thought I was feeling superior and didn't want to hang out with them since I had my ideal family. When it became not so ideal, they gloated over it.
Did you really feel superior?
Maybe. I'm extremely proud of my dad. He was the air pilot. Sometimes he'd pick me up from school right after landing. He wore this awesome uniform, a coat with 4 golden stripes on his sleeves, and a pilot cap. I couldn't be happier at that time. That may have been the problem. You shouldn't show off your happiness to someone who's less fortunate.
And your mom?
My mom had basically disappeared. She started working after Dad had passed away, and we would not see each other for weeks sometimes. She came home when I was already in bed. She went to work when I was still asleep. I was only reminded of her presence by the fact that she constantly left some food on the table. I thought that a common grievance would unite us, but of course, it put us farther and farther apart with each passing day. Our relationship was reduced to occasional phone calls and silent weekend breakfasts. I started skipping school because of the bullying. My grades dropped. She was informed of that, but hadn't said a single word to me. I'd been happier if she had shouted at me or shown concern in any other way. I stopped trying to get rid of that icky, unpleasant feelings from my memories of the days that grew increasingly sad and lonely. Julia didn't rush me. Then I ran away from home. I didn't plan to. It just turned out that way. One day I came home from school after a good thrashing and called her. I wanted to spill everything to her. I wanted to tell her on the bullies. I didn't care if the whole school thought I was hiding behind my mom. I wanted her help much more than to stop the bullying itself. She could have at least said something to encourage me. But she just dropped the call. She was probably busy, but I felt so betrayed knowing that your most precious person didn't have time for you. I left my phone, gathered my things, and took off.
How old were you at the time?
16.
What happened next?
I spent a couple of nights at the train station. Then signed up for a heaving job. I was lucky to find a company that helped me rent an apartment. After 2 weeks, my boss told me there was a search going on for me. And the mom, she asked if everything was alright. She didn't even flinch. And I told her how I felt. That was much better than before. She gave me my phone, the cash, and left for good. End of story.
Well, it's certainly not the end, considering you're waiting for her visit.
I don't expect much.
Does that have anything to do with your trembling hands?
So you notice.
That wasn't intentional.
Oh, it may have played a part. Julia was deep in thought. I was finally able to sigh in relief. It was hard to share personal stuff like this, but it was even harder to keep it pent up inside. I never told Pops the whole story.
Because that would look unmanly?
It would look childish.
Nonsense. There's nothing childish about sharing your problems with other people. In fact, being childish is not an offense either. Being an adult is far worse.
So that's why Pops is like that.
Like what?
Very infantile.
I'm glad to hear it. If you're not hinting at Alzheimer's, of course.
We both laughed at the same time.
You know, sometimes I find it very hard to understand my parents, especially Dad. He never once visited Grandma since the time he left, even when she got sick. He didn't go to the hospital or to her funeral. I thought I would never forgive him for this, but I did, eventually, and still, I couldn't quite understand him. And Grandpa didn't say a thing. I'd be furious if I was him, but he was so calm and collected, as if it was the way the things were supposed to be. I always thought that there was something adults know that we don't, and as soon as we get that knowledge, we become adults ourselves.
A woman child. 23 years of age.
Hey, it's rude to remind a lady of her age.
You're young and pretty. Is it the best time for that? She swallowed her words. Was she embarrassed? I wanted to turn my gaze towards her, but my vision was limited by how dim the light was.
Anyways, it's not that simple.
Julia continued the conversation.
When I graduated school, we had a huge fight with Dad. I missed Grandpa and wanted to come here, and he insisted I enter university. I cried a lot and said some really stupid things, but he still heard me out. And when I calmed down, he hugged me real tight and said that I was just like my grandma. This was the only time he ever did something like that. He and Mom, they always thought strong emotions to be something unnecessary. I think being like them means being an adult. But at that moment, I understood just how deeply he loved her and how hard it was on him. I mean, everyone has their own way of dealing with grief and showing support. Your mom certainly did care about you, since she was always cooking you breakfast. And how should have she have known you needed her when you didn't even tell her about it once? It's cool when someone can understand you without words, but try to get into her shoes. She was supporting your family by herself after she'd lost your dad. You expected support from her, but you didn't consider she also needed it.
Well, she never said anything.
And so did you. She organized a search for you. She was worried that something might have happened to you, and you told her you were better off without her. What was she supposed to feel? Her husband passed away, and her only son turned his back on her. It's a miracle she was tough enough to carry that cross.
Julia's voice trembled a little. My eyes stung a bit.
And you should know what it's like to lose someone precious. Then why would you force other people to live through it? Not to mention your own mom.
I've never looked at it that way.
Try not to say anything you would regret from now on, okay?
Yeah,
It's a promise then?
it's a promise. She sniffled loudly.
Good to hear.
Julia was about to get up, but I gently touched her shoulder. Let's stay here for a little while. I didn't want to see her and see my face right now. Julia returned to her spot without arguing.
There's also nothing internally wrong with crying, you know.
Yeah, I get it. I looked up the many drawings and one in particular caught my eye. Shades of violet and pink, a giant bear reaching up to the sky, and at first I was hardly reaching the bear's belly. felt like it was staring right at me. The silence was broken by sounds coming from Julia's stomach.
Oops.
It's time to go downstairs.
You think so?
I'd love to hear some more, but if I don't cook something for you right now, I'll be consumed by guilt. Or you. I crawled my way outside. Julia followed suit, the sun almost hidden behind the treetops. It's getting dark. Pops should hurry.
Your mom as well. There's really going to be a blizzard tonight.
To be perfectly honest, there's nothing about that in the forecast. I don't know why Pops decides it's going to happen. It's a bit windy, but nothing to constitute a blizzard.
If Grandpa said it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
Why are you so sure?
He has a gift.
To forecast weather?
To see the future. He would beckon me to look out the window sometimes, and I did that just to see an aurora borealis appear right before my eyes. I don't know how he did that to this day, but I don't doubt him.
I smirked. Being so naive at our age was rather cute. Pops just probably could tell by his bones aching. Did you know that aurora borealis is just solar dust grinding away our atmosphere? A mighty malicious thing.
And did you know you're a complete bore?
Insult me some more and be left starving.
I'll just eat some snow.
We kept on arguing until we reached the kitchen. I only had a couple pieces of pizza and some pasta with sausages, and some ready food lying around the fridge. Other than that, I was stuffed with canned foods, vegetables, and raw meat. Pizza or pasta?
Well, let's just start with pasta.
Start?
Come on, I'm practically starving here.
Come to think about it, you were wandering about a month without any food. It's a mystery how you managed to survive.
It's my normal diet.
A very bold statement. And that explains everything.
What do you mean?
The fact that you eat so much. You accumulate nutrition and just then use it sparingly.
Like a bear?
Yeah, don't be shy. Eat up. Julia started consuming food with enthusiasm, but her face contorted right away.
And what master chef, may I ask, cooked this?
It was me. What about it?
How in the world did you manage to ruin something as simple as pasta?
I scooped some pasta with a fork. It smelled and tasted ordinary. Seems fine to me. I eat it with no problem at all.
Ah, you poor, poor creature. Must be tough living your life with no idea how real food tastes.
Oh, don't blow it out of proportion.
Are you going to cook for your mom as well?
Of course, stop making that face. It's not that bad. Besides, it's not like I'm forcing you to eat it.
I'm okay, thank you. I'll at the very least save someone else from the suffering.
How nice of you.
Just keep in mind, if I get sick, you'll be the one to blame.
Or your gluttony.
Shut up.
Stop speaking with your mouth full. Also, how did you know that metabolism slows down as you age? Eating habits like that, you'll be fat, ugly, and incredibly sick when you get old.
What? Bowing?
I rummaged in my pocket and pulled out a key. Right, I almost forgot. Speak after you chew. Juliet grumbled in protest. It's a cellar key Pops gave it to me a while back. I never knew that cellar even existed. I never removed any furniture here after all. Julia had finally finished the sausage.
Grandma used to store sacks of grain and potatoes there. And pickled vegetables.
Hope there's nothing there that was once edible. As far as I know, Pops keeps all sorts of garbage there, New Year tree ornaments included. Julia's eyes turned as big as plates. Now what?
Ooh, can I help you decorate the house?
Alright, you're a holiday for children enthusiasts.
I haven't decorated a New Year tree in ages. I've almost forgotten its smell.
There's plenty of them outside. Go have a sniff.
Meanie.
I thought Pops would pick you up by now, to be honest. I gotta call him.
My boy, what's up?
Coming soon? Do you forget I got plans for tonight? What are you even doing?
Well, I was tinkering with the engine a bit. I'm done now. Almost ready to go.
You're a car mechanic now? I hope you didn't break anything else. If you don't come, your granddaughter here will have to spend the night in the forest. Julia stared at me in utter shock.
Yeah. Gotcha.
He hung up. Don't look at me like that. It was just a joke. I'll be there in a couple hours. Strange. I'll be rushing here after hearing about you. But he's not in any sort of hurry.
Who knows what business he has?
Oh, I know all about his business. He's either sawing trees or smoking his workshop. It's all the business he can have.
Will you ever stop grumbling? It's not even clear when your mom will come. Didn't you want to call her, by the way?
I sighed. After my conversation with Julia, I didn't know how to approach Mom and what to say to her. I'll call in a bit. Abruptly.
No. You have to call her right now.
And why is that?
You can't just run away from her forever. You hung up on her before, right? It's simple courtesy to call back.
Alright. Spare me your preaching. That Mom's number. Trying to control my trembling fingers. Hey, you coming?
But mute. Sorry about that. Something wrong in the car. Need to change some parts for spares, so they told me.
Should I pick you up?
No, I've already found a driver. He's going your way.
Huh? Who's that driver? Now don't get in a car of a complete stranger.
He looks like a good fella.
Do you think all predators have their intent written all over the face? Send me his plate number for safe measure.
Sure. Andrew.
What?
No, nothing. See you.
Bye. I ended the call. That was close. Julia peered into my eyes triumphantly.
Wow, you can be like that too, huh?
Bearable.
Herring, that was cute.
Stop imagining things. It's just ordinary safety concerns. I sent you to Pops on a taxi. I will remember his plate number as well.
Did you do that from the very start?
No, I was speaking hypothetically. Taxis don't come here. Enthusiasm did not waver.
Well, since Grandpa and your mom won't be here for a while, I can help you decorate the tree and even cook you something for dinner. If you're a good boy.
Pops wanted me to decorate a tree with Mom. To be precise, he wanted me to make my guests happy. You met my mom, right? It's not like you could have predicted Julia coming here. Oh, she arrives too late. We may not have enough time to do it. Alright, we'll do it, but let's start outside the house.
Why outside first?
Well, if we were to believe Pop's forecast, we should hurry up before the blizzard comes. We reached the couch, and there indeed was a hatch underneath it. Cold emanated from below. The air felt humid and dusty. The cellar was filled with unfunctioning electronics, furniture, and old boxes. Julia swiftly located the ones we needed. We returned the furniture to its rightful place. She opened up one of the boxes in a blink of an eye.
There they are. Grandpa used to hang these lights on the roof. It always looks stunning.
Do you think I'm not up to the task?
sir, no, sir.
Sort of pitch dark outside. I hoped that Julia would help me hang the lights, but she probably thought that making a snowman was a much better idea. I brought a ladder and clapped it onto the roof. Lights themselves were easy to install, so things moved quickly. I was on the other side of the roof in no time. Julia, on the other hand, was so engrossed in playing with snow that she was practically unaware of her surroundings. Didn't look my way even once. She was seemingly used to being left to her own devices, judging by how good she was at rolling these giant snowballs all by herself. I wonder, how well did she connect with her peers? Did she have a boyfriend? I, for example, was a complete rookie in relationships. Never even had a chance. The girls at school avoided me for apparent reasons. The only female that showed me any attention was a lunch lady from a nearby factory, Larissa, who flirted with pretty much anybody. Oh no, I was a total virgin. But warmth coming from Julia though, and it didn't look like simple courtesy. I couldn't even believe she was into me. Well, she looked at me even once, but not today, I guess. I'm done here. Look at a frozen place. I was in deep in thought a bear had emerged from the forest. Julia didn't even notice it, but it did notice her.
It looks beautiful. Your mom will surely appreciate the effort.
The beast stood up on two legs. I said the bear would do that to show off and warn others to not move closer. You wouldn't find a sated bear wandering the forest in winter, though. Took a deep breath and shouted at the top of my lungs. Julia, run! She sprung to action and got up the ladder in a blink. The bear just stood there, unmoving. I threw out the ladder so it couldn't climb up.
What? What's there?
Julia shot the basic quizzical look. He studied us for a couple minutes, tilting his head to different angles, then just turned his back on us and strode into the forest. Almost as if we were unworthy of his attention. Phew, what a close call.
You scared me to death. You should have just told me it was a bear.
Just a bear? Are you out of your mind? He would have swallowed you whole.
Nonsense.
Well, tell me then. What were you so afraid of?
I thought it was the forest witch.
Huh?
The forest witch! When I was little, Grandma told me there was a witch in the forest. A witch that killed birds and beasts and drank their blood to prolong their own life.
Are you dumb? How can you believe in such fairy tales at your age?
But it's true. I even saw her once.
How old were you?
That doesn't matter, but 5?
Little kid's imagination can take a rotten tree from an old person.
She wasn't old at all.
Julia's stomach reminded of itself at just the right moment. Hungry again?
Nope, it's just your pasta talking.
And what's up with that snowman attire? Where'd you get that?
Found it laying around. Now, tell me, where's the ladder? What a moron!
She definitely did not like me now. I don't want to hear it off his son who believes in forest witches.
And you're the genius who decided to get rid of our means to get down. So, what do we do now?
Well, the window's locked from the other side. Well, you can always jump.
But it's so high. I'm scared. I'm not jumping down.
I just can't understand you. I tried. I really did. How can you be scared of forest witches and such small heights, but not bears? How are you scared of going to the forest at minus 30 Celsius? Why did you even climb here when you could have just ran to the house?
Well, you see, I feel a lot safer around you.
My heart skipped a beat. Stop it.
Stop what?
Stop being so cute, please.
You think I'm cute?
You're as cute as you're weird.
You say it like I'm the biggest weirdo on the planet.
I didn't say that. Let's see. I'll jump down and bring back the ladder. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I landed in snow without incident and got the ladder back up. Julia sheepishly placed her foot on one of the ladder planks again and again. On the fourth plank, her foot slipped. Watch out! I stretched out my arms reflexively, and Julia landed right into my grass. It's alright. You're in safe hands.
Thank you.
She blushed, but didn't avert her gaze. I couldn't believe how light she was. I have a question I just need to ask.
Sure.
Can you promise to answer honestly? She nodded and held her breath. Where did all that weight you have been accumulating for years go?
Congratulations, you've won a medal.
She jumped off to the ground. What kind?
For ruining a perfect moment.
What are you... I was interrupted by a noise coming from the road. Someone's car. And that was Pops or my mom. Couldn't have been here this fast. Julia seemed to look the same.
So soon?
She almost sounded sad. The noise had become louder. Windows in my house started shuddering. This was too loud. It wasn't a normal car. And there seemed to be a lot of them. No one had turned our way, though. I wonder how much they were paid to work on New Year's Eve.
What was that?
This forest is due to be cut down. They finally got to work, it seems.
Impossible. This forest shouldn't be disturbed.
Just this forest? I mean, I don't like the idea, but why this particular forest?
You'd laugh at me again if I told you.
I only tend to laugh at extremely childish beliefs. I see, because a bear spirit lives here, right?
You know about it?
This girl's just... The whole town knows.
I bet you don't believe in it, but that's okay.
Did you see as well?
I didn't, but it definitely exists.
Does this mean there's a higher chance to meet a forest witch than a bear spirit around these parts? Julia shot me a mysterious smile. It's so cute when you try to change your mind. If that calms you down, Pops is sure nothing's going to happen to the forest. The bear spirit will come and save the day, like it always does.
If Grandpa said so, it's going to happen.
Let me guess. Because they can see the future.
It's one of the reasons. Test my faith all you want, you mean-spirited skeptic. I won't budge.
Wasn't my intention at all.
Yeah. By the way, what about the tree?
I found a really good one in the backyard. Come on in. I'll join you soon. Apart from all the racket from logging trucks, it was incredibly quiet outside. Even the air felt softer. It was either calm before a storm, or Pops was wrong with his prediction. The carried tree inside the house was met with a surprise. Julia was glowing like a rainbow, wrapped in countless lights.
Sorry, I had to take a screenshot. She looks so cute. Do I look pretty?
Very much so, like a true gamer with that RGB lighting. I'm especially interested in what brand your earrings are. Where'd you get them?
I found them lying around.
How old are you again?
It's a secret.
Julia burst into laughter. She didn't look like an adult before, but now she was behaving like a mischievous little girl. Well, will we decorate a tree, or are you going to spend the rest of your life in those boxes?
Oh, wait, there's so many cool things in these. Oh, there's fireworks, a whole box of them.
You can't decorate a tree with that.
But you can fire them.
They're too old, probably past their expiration date.
You're such a...
Such a what?
skeptic. Pessimist.
It's very nice to meet you.
Fireworks have no expiration date. None at all.
Spent so much time in the cellar. They probably went inside, so they definitely won't fire.
Oh, you're boring me to sleep. No harm in trying, you know.
I sighed. Fine, we can try them, but let's do it later, okay? I brought the tree after all.
But there's still so many.
Oh, what now? Replied in an unexpectedly rude manner. My voice expressed much more irritation than I actually felt. Julia, who was brighter than a full-blown New Year tree, shifted to a dark mood. She looked at me with disappointment and turned away.
It's nothing.
A lump of guilt was stuck in my throat. I'm generally interested.
It doesn't matter.
What's that? Books? Julia looked at me with doubtful eyes.
My childhood photos, books, and Grandma's notebooks.
Can I take a look?
Do you like little girls?
Who do you take me for? I meant the notebooks. Your grandma was a skilled artist.
Oh.
Besides, I've seen plenty of childhood photos.
I can't believe you would look at them. You pervert.
It's not like I asked for it. Paul's just likes bragging about you so much. Julia handed me a small leather-bound tome. A sign depicting half a spruce was inscribed on it, its front cover. I skimmed through the book. There was a lot of text, but not so much in terms of drawings. It's all handwritten. Looks more like a diary.
I'd call it a collection of our land's legends. Grandma did it all by herself.
I'll make sure to read it later, alright? Otherwise, we won't be able to decorate our tree in time.
I've got everything covered in that regard.
Julia took the task as seriously as possible. She was meticulous in picking the toys and where to put them on the tree. She could spend up to 5 minutes placing one. If that place was too high for her, I'd be the one to place it.
Oh, not there.
But I followed your directions.
Put a bit to the left. Yeah, that's it. By the way, have you ever decorated a New Year tree with your family?
Every single year until Dad passed away. He absolutely loved the winter holidays, so we would always set up the tree in early December, only get rid of it at the end of January. It's a lot of fun.
What was the most fun about it?
When I was a kid, Dad always put me on his shoulder so I could place a star, the main piece of decoration, by myself. I was always horrible at it, and Mom always fixed it, thinking I wouldn't notice. I also shared a hobby with Dad, collecting aircraft models made of wood and plastic. I had a vast collection in my room, from huge to very small, and the tiniest of which we would use as toys for our tree. Mom would make us cheesecake with hot chocolate, and we would wolf them down while decorating.
That sounds awesome.
What about you? I mean, from the time you used to live here.
We would camp out with Grandpa to get the tree.
Camp out. You have plenty of trees in your backyard. Julia's eyes became dreamy.
We looked for the finest spruce in the whole forest. That was our goal. Grandma would prepare our backpacks, and we even took a tent with us. We traversed the forest for hours, and when we got tired, we set up a fireplace and roasted sausages. It felt like a genuine adventure, where I was an explorer following his guide to unknown lands. We even spent the night under the open sky once. We had too little energy to come back.
And what about bears?
We met them from time to time, but they'd never attack us.
How in the world?
Because of Grandpa.
Huh? Does he have some sort of special aura?
Something like that. I think he's the forest guardian. And don't make that face. Read Grandma's book first.
Alright. Please continue.
When we eventually found the right tree, Grandpa would cut it down, tie it to his back, and we would go home. We always returned really quick. It seemed like magic to me back then, but now I understand. that we were just going in circles around the house the whole time.
Little trickster.
It was such a grand adventure for me every time. When we arrived home, Grandma would always claim she lost a cellar key and we went searching for it together. It was a New Year festival designed for me and me alone.
She loved you a lot.
I know, right? And then we decorated the tree together. I was very small, so I could only hand the toys over to Grandpa. Just like with you today. I told him where the toys should go, and he would always misplace them. I would always make a fuss about it, and he would pick me up so I could do it myself.
Childhood is a magical time.
And one's parents are their personal magicians.
Judging by what you told me, your whole family consists of mystic creatures.
Hey, stop that.
Alright. I think you'll make a wonderful magician yourself someday. Julia showed me an embarrassed smile and flicked some hair behind her ear.
You really think so?
I do. I also felt heat rise up my cheeks.
It's a bit...
Embarrassing? Sorry.
It's okay. To be honest, it made me a bit happier. And that's it for the tree, I think.
You don't seem too happy.
We were done too fast. You know, when I have a giant family, I'd place a huge fluffy tree in the middle of the room and buy a ton of toys so the decoration process would take up the whole evening until there's no space left on the tree.
Sounds like a plan, but how can you be sure your family will be giant? Will you even have a family? Julia shrugged.
I just know it.
Pop's powers again?
Shut up.
Sure. You can strip down a tree you want, or you can stop dilly-dallying and take care of the second floor.
Do you mind if I turn on the radio?
Do you like music, or am I that boring?
Who doesn't like music?
Is it just me, or are you dodging the question? I don't really like music, for one.
I don't believe you.
No, really. Check my car radio. There are no safe stations there.
What about the guitar over there?
Not mine.
You're the most boring person I've ever met. And a liar.
You're hurting my feelings. However, have you actually met that many people in your life?
You got me there.
She let us scroll through the stations until she stumbled upon the one that was playing the holiday tunes.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Now I would be bored to death accompanied by holiday songs. Hooray.
You always keep on grumbling. You must be at least 60 psychologically.
And what about you? Around 8?
15.
Wonderful.
Tell me, have you never thought of having a family yourself?
It's hard to look after one set of limbs. How can you expect me to take care of kids?
Why jump straight to kids? 2 adults can also be a family. Start with a relationship, maybe?
Why do you think I'm not in one at the moment?
Just a hunch. Am I wrong?
No, but it still hurts a fair bit.
You're going to celebrate New Year with your mom, after all, not your girlfriend.
We all have our reasons.
Your house is a bachelor's den.
You don't have to live together, do you?
And you have a foul character.
Like you're the one to talk.
You're a liar, a bore, a wet blanket, and you grumble like an old man.
Hey, calm down there, little young lady.
I mean, even that doesn't stop millions of insufferable people around the world to find their partner. And you're still single. Are you, by any chance, homosexual?
I'm not. Cut it out already. Think gay people can't find themselves a partner?
Who knows? Maybe you just didn't come out of your closet yet and live in conflict with yourself.
I'm just a loner. Let's stop at that.
A girl broke your heart, so you decided to ditch relationships as a whole.
I never had a girlfriend.
Never ever?
Never ever.
Even at school?
At no point in my life.
And have you ever thought of having one?
Are girls pets to you? I mean, it's not that I don't like the prospect. It's just I haven't met the right one yet.
The right one for your standards?
The right one for me. What about you? Is your fiance waiting in Orenburg?
I'm not that different from you in that regard. I've never had a boyfriend.
Even at school?
Don't be mean. I hardly attended school. So yeah, even there.
Why?
Well, Grandma homeschooled me when I was living here, so I started going to a normal school when I was 13, after my parents took me back. I was expelled after a couple weeks.
Are you joking?
I wish I was.
This sounds like an interesting story to hear.
I nodded off in geography class.
Didn't expel you for that.
Well, while I was asleep, my body went out the window. The classroom was on the second floor. I fell and broke my leg, but even that didn't wake me up. I walked 2 bus stops worth of distance before my parents found me.
I stared at Julia in horror and disbelief.
That's exactly the same look my teacher gave me back then. I'd spent a month in a hospital with a broken leg, and the principal kindly asked my parents not to send me back to school. Their staff didn't exactly know what to do in situations like that, and so on. I was also apparently a bad influence on my classmates and should have been sent to a school for deviants. I continued homeschooling, but from that point on, I was taught by strangers.
Everybody was probably worried sick about you.
I can imagine how it looked. A squirrel girl in a tattered uniform walking down the street, dragging her broken foot with a blank look in her eyes, like something out of a zombie movie. I can understand what they felt, but it's still painful. After I moved away from my grandpa, my only hope was to be able to go to school like everybody else. I expected to make friends and exchange little messages with them in class, to hang out after school, to go camping or watch movies together, to gossip about boys and have sleepovers. Maybe I would even get my first love letter there, and they would ask me for a prom dance, and maybe I'll have my first kiss. Feels weird to talk about that now. It's all in the past, but I can't shake off the thought that I've missed something really important, something that I won't have a second chance at in my life.
No, there's no guarantee everything would have gone according to your plans anyway. I don't have any warm memories of my classmates. I spent a good 11 years with them. And girls, they can be even scarier than boys. They're extremely jealous. They ruin your life without flinching just because you're smarter or more well liked by boys. And maybe it's a blessing you avoided all of that.
It's better to regret something you've done than to regret something you wish you'd done.
A cheerful jingle changed to a slow dance tune. Wanna dance? The words slipped out my mouth before I could think. What did I just say now? Why? I wanted to disappear from the embarrassment. My cheeks were so hot you could probably fry stuff on them.
I do.
Her face was red as mine, but we both feel much more relaxed if we just ran to the forest. It didn't come back. Ever. I held up my hand and was shaking so hard it was almost uncontrollable. Julia didn't seem scared or confused. She gently touched the palm of my hand and the shaking subdued. I hope you won't forget that. It's my first time being this intimate with a girl. We're so close I could make out every single hair on her head. Julia didn't look up at me. I could feel the warmth coming from her face. See? You don't need to go to school to have your prom dance.
Yeah.
It's not only a place to look for friends. My voice was unnaturally low and silent. Julia was also speaking quietly, but I could hear her every word.
That's why you're friends with an old hermit?
Well, it just turned out that way.
We're both not the most experienced in the matter, but you should know, it's hard to find friends who are your most important person.
I bet a lot of guys would love to go out with you. You're rather beautiful.
You're not ugly yourself.
Well, thank you.
But that's not it.
What do you mean?
looking for people who need us. We're looking for the ones we need.
It makes no difference if someone is interested in you when the feeling is mutual. Many would argue with that.
But you won't.
The aroma wafting from her hair made me feel a bit dizzy. Miraculously, a voice stepping on Julia's feet. A dazzling success my first time dancing. I felt like we moved around the same spot for eternity. I'd love to do some more if only I had discovered the song was long over. With it, ephemeral atmosphere of sincerity. We exchanged awkward glances and got back to decorating the room. After finishing with that, we returned to first floor. Julia went straight to the fridge and poked her head inside like she owned the place.
Well, it's not much. Aren't you expecting guests?
Just a single guess.
She's not coming here to have a cup of tea, you know. It's not like you have anything to go with tea anyways.
And I think you just don't know how much a normal person eats.
Cheapskate.
Where'd you get that from? There's enough to feed 8 people there.
Alright, I'll think of something. Just don't disturb me.
I gladly promise I won't interrupt her, even go inside the kitchen while she cooks. But what was I supposed to do in the meantime? I thought working, but quickly decided against the idea. It'd be wasteful to disturb the order of my workplace. I grabbed a book with Tales of the North instead. This book is a collection of stories of existing creatures. The mediators to be tasked with refreshing the knowledge every 50 years. Isn't it a bit too serious for a preface?
Did you say something?
Do you know who the mediator is?
No. What about it?
Nothing. Was just curious. The first creature in the book was the forest witch, Joma, living in a hut deep inside the forest. She used to eat human children, but the great Osh later prohibited that, threatening to drive her out of the woods. The witch reluctantly agreed and started catching beasts and birds to use their blood and vitality potions to prolong her life. This is a drawing depicting a slim, tall lady with a very keen look. Age was impossible to identify. The witch almost looks like Baba Yaga, a lot more beautiful though.
Like who?
Baba Yaga, you know, the crone who lives in a hut on chicken legs. I mean, we did cooking companions together.
What's that nonsense?
Julia looked at me like I was an idiot. Come on, she's from a classic fairy tale. Had you really never heard of her?
Was I supposed to?
Parents scare the children with her all the time.
Mine only told me of the forest witch.
I have a couple questions for your grandpa then, but I can understand why you feared her so much. The stare would make the blood freeze in one's veins. We have your grandma to thank for that. Drawing her in such a way was completely unnecessary.
The witch was even scarier in the old version.
The old version?
Yeah, Grandma didn't make up these stories. She took them from another book. It was quite battered, so she decided to rewrite it.
I'll slip through a couple more pages. Leshy and Domovale would continue the list. I already knew of them thanks to Slavic folklore, so I put the book away. I can't seriously believe in all of that.
Have you read the part about the forest spirit?
The household one or the water one?
About Osh.
I decided to leave that magnificent experience for later.
Well, it's your loss. By the way, what salad should I make?
Why do you make them? I don't eat salads.
Then why have you bought the vegetables?
I eat them raw. They're more useful that way.
You eat them raw because you're bad at cooking.
As you wish.
And you can't only be thinking about yourself. What if your mom likes salads? Does she?
I don't know. I don't remember. Ask about your grandpa, though. I'll answer right away.
It's just, he's my grandpa, not yours. And don't forget, you've promised to tell me everything about him. I don't even know how you met each other.
You didn't ask.
I'm asking now.
He picked me off the street, safe from starvation.
thought you found yourself a decent job after you left home.
True, when work ran out in one place, we get reassigned to another town, to another one, and so on. Visited half the country and then I got here. I was promised bad living conditions and good pay, but I was getting neither. As soon as I got here and the facility went under, a lot of people were left without a job. Local folk knew their way around here, were fast to find new jobs. Strangers like me had no place to turn to. I'd been renting an apartment for some time, looking for a job. Then I found my suitcase before the door. Turned out my landlady was renting an apartment of her wandering son. Well, he came back, got my suitcase, but all my money stayed in his pockets. Quite ironic. So I had to keep my job then? Been among these woodcutters.
Nothing ironic about it. What happened next? Did Grandpa find you then?
Almost. I spent the whole day in a bus stop, was exhausted. The whole world turned against me. I was in this cold land without a job, without a place to live, without any money. I gave up. The cold was too strong, so when the night fell, I started looking for ways to warm myself. I burned random trash and my own belongings. It helped, but not for long. I ran out of things to burn. I stumbled upon Pop's workshop. I didn't care if what I did was wrong or right or wrong. I simply broke in. Pops found me in the morning, lying on the floor near the fireplace. He gave me two options. Either he reports me to the police, and they take me to a place where they feed you with cow poo, as he put it, or he teaches me his craft and I help him around his workshop. I gave my answer almost immediately.
Grandpa amazes me more and more. Does he remind you of that incident regularly?
Never once did, actually. Couldn't understand why he gave me a chance in the first place. Every time I asked him, he waved me away and told me that I should just live my life and don't sweat the small stuff. We drank together once, he went overboard. So much he could hardly sit upright. Pops probably doesn't remember this, but before he knocked himself out, he managed to say that he was very happy to find me in a smoking area that morning. I didn't pry anymore. We are similar in that regard. It's hard for us to share our real problems. Well, now I can understand some things about words at least.
I think you're a very good person.
Hey, are you crying?
It's the onion.
Come on, cut it out. Julia staggered and used the table for support. What's wrong? Are you alright?
Yeah. Just felt a bit drowsy.
Maybe you should lie down?
I'm fine. Don't worry.
Oh, okay.
Tell me more about Grandpa.
I had to bail him out of jail once. He somehow thought it would be a good idea to wander around at a mosque in his Santa Claus costume on New Year's Eve. I turned out one story after another while Julia was cooking. As it turned out, my life became much more lively over the last couple of years, all thanks to Pops, who would laugh at getting his tooth beaten out or at the dove, dropping it on his truck's windshield. He's always stayed positive, managed to cheer me up. Sometimes it was almost like he could read my thoughts. That's how good he was at understanding me. I, on the other hand, only knew things he deemed worthy of telling me. These things most had to do with his granddaughter. The rare moments of sincerity always came in his drunken slumber. They were always unexpected, I didn't know how to react. Julia listened closely, like she relived every story with me. When I got tired of monologuing, she spoke up.
So, what's up with the guitar? Is it yours?
Uh-huh. Wait,
Then whose if not yours or Grandpa's? You have no other friends after all.
Don't touch my sore spot. Makes it Pop's dens.
Don't lie. He never even played a music instrument.
It's impossible to hide anything from you.
I'd love to hear you play.
I haven't touched it in a while, so...
Your choice. The guitar or potatoes?
Potatoes, if it involves eating them.
Healing.
Give me just a moment. Picked up the car, blew up the dust, tucked on the strings, fiddled with turning keys, and did everything to waste time. I didn't want to make a fool of myself before Julia.
Come on, play.
Pressed down the strings, my thumbs screamed from pain. Blisters from regular practice were already long gone, so it hurts like the first time. Tried to keep it simple and just pluck the strings, but it wasn't enough for Julia. She relaxed and swayed with the melody, mumbling something under her nose. I was calm for the first time in a while. With her eyes on me from time to time, and when I looked up, she was doing her own thing without looking my way. The house was filled with scent of boiled potatoes and fried chicken, instead of my childhood New Year days. Julia noticed me sniffling around.
Let me introduce you. That is the smell of edible food.
It's very nice to meet you, edible food. Saliva filled my mouth. Still remember that. I haven't eaten for a very long time. The hunger went away for a while because of recent events. It was slowly coming back now. Julia was keen for my interests.
Wait for a bit. Your mom will arrive soon. You'll share this meal with her.
Did you learn cooking by yourself?
Grandma taught me.
Tell me something about her. Pop keeps his mouth shut all the time.
She was cool and could seemingly do everything. She could cook and draw and sing.
And how'd she meet Pops?
Oh, it's a funny story. Grandpa worked as a driver. One day he was tasked with driving a mayor's daughter to another city.
And this daughter was your grandma?
Yes. Grandpa suddenly stopped the engine during the trip. Welp, he said, it broke down. Polar night, not a single soul in the vicinity. Horrible cold. Grandma panicked and he just replied with, "The laborers will drive by in the morning. They'll pick us up. We have to keep ourselves warm, and if we fall asleep, we'll freeze to death." So they just sat there all night, talking, and come morning, he told her that the car was absolutely fine. Grandma complained to her father after it was over, and he didn't have to think twice. Just use his connections to throw Grandpa in jail. But Grandma took a liking to the driver, so she begged her father to release him.
It's called the Stockholm Syndrome.
Don't act so smart.
And? Did they release Pops?
Not immediately. The father told her that she would need to ask him once more in 2 months. Then he'll do it.
Sounds legit.
Of course. Grandma came back in 2 months with the same request, and then they built this house and lived here together until Grandma died.
Pops, the story's quite easy to believe, but I still don't get why he keeps on getting in trouble all the time. How does he think those things up? I mean, does he ever hesitate?
He certainly didn't hesitate that time. He knew it would happen because he'd seen it in a dream. He knew that he's destined to meet a girl he would love till the end of his days, and he also knew that no harm would come from him stopping the engine. He knew that it was necessary to spend a couple of months in jail, and that the girl would bail him out. He knew everything.
You can't take dreams that seriously.
You just haven't seen prophetic dreams.
You're romanticizing it. Julie kept on swaying, almost fell. Good thing the fridge was behind her. What's wrong?
I don't feel so good.
Tired?
I don't know.
Here, sit. I checked the oven and led Julia by the hand towards the sofa.
I'm so dizzy.
I guess the wind shook the windows. There's the promised blizzard. Are you no lady reacting to weather like that?
I'm not sure. It just feels like all the strength just left my body.
Hey, keep it together, please. What do I say to Pops?
I need to rest for a bit. Get a wink of sleep.
Sat on the floor beside the fireplace. Sure. What's the thing I need to read about?
The forest spirit.
Okay. On the right page without trouble, this entry was much larger compared to other creatures. For some reason, I started reading it out loud. Osh is the forest garden spirit in the form of a bear. In ancient times, he, the son of god, Ina, disobeyed his father and descended upon earth, tempted by local food and women. As a punishment, Ina forbade him to ever return to the heavens, and Osh settled down in the forest, where the things to feast on were plentiful. To take in human form, he could visit villages to get food. Once in a century, he picked a woman, took her to the forest. One night, on the full moon, was enough to blind his chosen to Osh, so she would guard the northern forest alongside him. Osh knows the animal language, can see the future, and wields healing magic. Some of his abilities can be passed down to his children. Nowadays, Osh lives in endless slumber, guarding the entrance to the Shadow Realm. However, the forest is never left unguarded. At the start of every cycle, the bear marks a new guardian with this forest spirit. You keep watch until they're no longer capable of it. Until they're no longer capable. Sounds like a job without pay that you can't ditch. Why do you think that Pops is the said guardian?
He can see the future, and if it wasn't him who stood up for the forest 10 years ago, then who? Besides, his and Grandma's stories...
That's just something you really want to believe in. I'll admit there are a lot of coincidences, almost enough to convince me seriously.
You only believe in what you see, don't you?
I guess so.
Then we just have to visit the place.
Julia let out a big yawn.
We should go there and see for ourselves.
You can hardly keep your eyes open.
I'll just lie down for 10 minutes. Then I'll be good as new.
Without realizing it, Julia reduced her voice into a whisper. Sleep until Pops could hear.
I don't want to.
She acted like a spoiled kid. As you wish, I'll go get you a blanket. I went upstairs. Having someone to take care of was unexpectedly pleasant. There has been a single soul in this house apart from me for a good while. I was sure that I had no need for company, but Julia's appearance did not bring any discomfort into my life. Quite the contrary, it's hard to imagine living without her. To think Pops would take her away so soon. I wanted time to stop. I loved to play the guitar for her. We should be dancing and singing along. Talk to her about anything in the world. We'd decorate a tree together again. I'd read her books. I concluded that letting her go was an awful idea, and perhaps asking her Pops to join the celebration would be a better one. The more the merrier. That would surely make the atmosphere less awkward between me and Mom. Though they certainly deserve their fair share of time and privacy. I should also have a tete-a-tete conversation with Mom. Probably. Went back downstairs to ask Julia if she wanted to stay. She cooked enough for a platoon of hungry soldiers, and you couldn't possibly eat that much with just 2 people, but she was not there. She was neither beside the fireplace nor in the kitchen. There weren't many places where we could have missed each other in this house. She was gone. The blanket was lying on the floor, and her outside clothes were where she left them. I grabbed my coat and ran outside. The wind was so strong it made me stagger. My face and its neck were tingling from the cold. There were barely recognizable footprints in the snow, and I rushed after them before they would be completely covered with snow. The problem was, I couldn't see Julia anywhere. How could she go in such weather without warm clothes? It hit me, another fit of sleepwalking. But even then, why the hell would she venture into the forest late at night if her initial goal was to get here? The further I got from the house, the harder it came to see prints. Might have been due to dim lighting, but it started looking almost inhuman at some point. What if I already lost track of her and was following some beast instead? At a couple more meters, the prints vanished altogether. I continued at random, scooping up snow with my boots and drowning in the snow. I freeze to death, but I don't find her. The forest creaked. Now the woodcutters were supposed to be in another direction. The creaking of falling trees was echoing from everywhere. Howling cries could also be heard nearby. Wolves. Wolves always moved in packs. Sped up, my fingers were red, it was hard to move them. I couldn't even unclench my fists. I swung my hands all over the place to keep a little warmth still left in my body, but what made things worse? It was hard to tell how far I went from the house, but I couldn't return there alone. But Julia... When I was ready to cross the road and search on the other side, I felt a push into the chest. I looked around, but couldn't see anything. My vision went completely dark. Some sort of sigil burned up right before my eyes. It took me a moment to process. The sigil was carved into the tree. A chain reaction followed, and all the surrounding trees lit up at the same time. Another moment, and the night sky was shining with waves of light. It was bright as daylight. I didn't have time to think, so I sprinted to the depths of the forest, following the chains of lighting up trees. My legs were barely moving. At some point, I just felt like they were glued to the ground. A howl, a sounding earth-shaking howl. I was paralyzed. It was difficult to even breathe. One moment, my heart was pounding due to fear. The next, it stopped beating for a couple of seconds. Every heartbeat was pulsating in my head. I was just standing there, unable to take a step forward. I wanted to run. I wanted to get away from this forest. My survival instinct screamed that it was the only right choice. My only thoughts of Julia made me stand still. She was there somewhere. She probably very cold, in a place swarming with wolves, bears, and God knows what else. She needed me. Paul's voice echoed in my head. You bear no ill will, you have nothing to fear. As it was my permission to move, I made a step forward, again and again. I battled against snow and wind while blurry shadows moved around at the edge of my vision. One of them especially slim and horrifying. I felt the keen eyes of its owner on my back. I was finally able to get into some sort of clearing. Julia was there. She stood among the marked trees, her back turned to me. Her head limped to the side. I was able to see her face, a pair of eyes shining with ominous, otherworldly light. Julia's body floated upwards as if she was a puppet, and somehow was pulling her strings. The sky was pulsating. Her eyes hurt as if I was looking at the suns for a long time. Her arms spread aside, another howl in my ears. Much harder than last time, as if waiting for a signal. A flock of ravens shot into the sky. I didn't know if my nearly blind eyes were to see by the changing colors or by the dark stains. I saw the form of a bear, towering over the forest, instilling awe and fear. I sat in the snow, motionless and empty. I didn't feel cold or fear. I couldn't feel the passage of time. My eyes were glued to the painfully pulsating sky, and Julia's hair fluttering in the wind. I could hear her chains clanging, a fearful voice coming from the road. Woodcutters were fleeing the forest in masses. There's gotta be another commotion in town tomorrow. Now the newspaper would write about the spirit of the forest. The spirit that was right before my eyes. The bear's form suddenly became clearer, and I was able to make out fur on his giant paws and along with incredibly long claws. They're gone. My voice was barely audible, but that just gave me enough confidence. They're gone, so leave her be. The bear turned his head towards me. Please. I just stood there for some time. I couldn't really tell if it looked at me or if it was checking if the wood cutting machines were really gone. Then howled for the third and final time. The sky lit up with all sorts of color once more. I went completely blind for a good minute. When my sight returned, I was standing in the middle of the darkness. The aurora was nowhere to be seen. Full moon, a myriad of stars were decorating the sky. Tree signals were all gone without a trace. Julia was lying in the snow. I rushed to her side. My hands were completely numb, so I pressed my lips against her forehead instead. Freezing cold. For a split second, it seemed like she was lost forever, but then she gently grabbed my sleeve and whispered,
So cold.
I picked her up and ran towards the road rail thinking it was better than drowning in snow again. I didn't feel the weight in my hands. I didn't feel fatigue or the wind. All I could think of was that Julia was cold, that she was freeze to death. I didn't have time to feel pain. I couldn't remember how far I went and how I was able to find my house. I came back to my senses only by the time I put Julia on the couch and covered her with a blanket. Here, beside the fireplace, I was finally able to feel all the cells in my body again. They were all screaming for help. The scream was so intense that I wanted to join them until the pain would be gone. Julia looked ghastly, her face pale, her lips blue. She was hardly breathing. Her cheeks took a long time to regain their pinkness. I crashed to the floor by his side, in hopes my limbs would return to her form faster than that way. When Julia was asleep, she didn't look like an adult at all. Just a little girl that didn't want to go to sleep in her nest. I listened to the howling wind and the clang of a hammer instead. What would have happened if I didn't find her? How much time had passed? What's up with this forest? What were those ruins? I thought before that Julia was sleepwalking before she wanted to come back home to see Grandpa, but now I was sure it had to do with the forest's guardian. But I only spawned more questions. My head was spinning. That shadow following me in the forest. Who did it belong to? If the spirit of forest existed, did the same apply to water spirits or house spirits or the forest witch? Why? If the forest needed a guardian, it didn't pick someone actually living here, me. Why Julia, who was thousands of kilometers away? My thoughts interrupted each other, expanded, got louder and louder until Julia groaned weakly.
Hey,
Are you awake?
how long was I gone? I'm so sorry.
How do you feel?
I feel a bit strange, but why do you ask? What's the time?
It's already past 11.
Oh no! Why did you wake me up?
I was too busy with something.
My head is swimming. I saw such a terrible nightmare. It wasn't the first time, but it was much weaker before.
And what was the nightmare about?
I was there with Grandma. She was leading me through the forest by the hand. There was an aurora borealis, and also you. It was such a weird dream.
Yeah, sometimes I see the strangest things in there.
The forest witch was there as well.
Did she scare you?
No, she wasn't trying to harm me. Rather, she just wanted to help.
Is there anyone else? I didn't know. Maybe I was just a fruit of my imagination. I could only see the bear and Julia because of my temporary blindness. I decided to keep what happened to her a secret from her. For now, at least. I wouldn't have believed it if I was told something like that. She also needed to rest.
Did anybody come?
I shook my head.
They should have been here long ago. We have to call them. What if something happens on the way here?
I did it right away. Are you sure you're alright?
Yeah, just a bit hungry.
I smirked and went outside. The winds disappeared as quickly as it started. The air was still. The snowflakes, it seemed, could dance through it endlessly without touching the ground. It was warm. An unread message from Mom, a familiar car plate number belonging to her supposed driver. Everything clicked. You old bastard. I dialed Mom's number. She answered almost immediately. When he knew to answer my question, yet I couldn't help but ask, "Where are you?" Nico,
I'm really sorry, but it seems like you won't make it. Stuck in the middle of the forest, and I think it'll take a while. Car sank in the snow. I've called an evacuation vehicle, but who knows how long it will take them. It's New Year's Eve, after all.
for a yoke tightening on my neck, a yoke I was quite eager to get into, to be honest. Are you okay?
Yeah, don't worry. Heater is running and I'm in the winter clothes. I also have some coffee and good company to go alongside with.
Yeah, right. Julia poked her disheveled head from the doorway.
We have dinner. I'm dying from hunger.
Her stomach growled in confirmation. I made a "yeah, sure, but I'm still a bit busy" here gesture of my head. Julia nodded understandingly and went back.
You have a female guest?
Something like that.
She has a sweet voice.
Can you try to explain your location? I'll go pick you up.
It's unnecessary. I know my way around here after all. We're already called for the evacuation team. It would be really awkward if it arrived here and we were gone.
I can at least pick you up.
Seriously, drop it. Spend the evening with your guest. He and you, we have plenty of time to later.
I didn't reply. I had no desire to press any further, but I wouldn't leave her in a forest either.
She a good girl?
Seems like it.
glad.
Most awkward silence followed.
Well then,
Hey, Mom. Do you like salads? We've been talking for roughly 20 minutes. Realized that only when I looked at the watch. Julia sprung up when I came back.
What took you so long? Did you talk to Grandpa?
No, I only talked to Mom.
You've been talking to her the whole time?
Yeah,
And?
everything's fine. She squinted and looked at me straight in the eye. I'm serious.
That's wonderful then.
Could only shrug to that, I guess.
When will she come?
She's not coming.
Oh, what? But,
Don't even ask. Everything's fine. She's not coming tonight.
okay. We still have to call Grandpa.
He's not coming as well. Julia fell silent. Confusion flashed through her face at first, but then came enlightenment and embarrassment. Great. Seemed like I wouldn't need to explain anything. Tick tock, the wall clock reminded us of the time. It's almost 12.
We still haven't had dinner.
Sorry about that. It smells delicious. She probably puffed out her chest.
I know. Too bad we won't be able to taste every dish.
Why?
Fireworks! Or did you forget your promise?
Right now? Julia nodded. She was quite serious about it. Don't expect too much. They're pretty old. I grabbed a pack of fireworks and Julia took glasses and a bottle of champagne. We went outside. The treetops were engulfed by moonlight. A full moon. After that, spectacle of light in the forest. Stories from our grandmother's book didn't seem comical at all. They sure resembled fairy tales, but now I myself took part in it.
I've already forgotten how beautiful this place can be. You can even see all these stars. How much till 12?
1 minute. I was destined to be madly in love with this girl. I was happy that I decided that before the bear magic made that choice for me.
Go!
I placed the fireworks into the snow, lit up the fuse with trembling hands, and returned to Julia, fumbling through the snow piles. She handed me a glass of champagne.
I'm so glad to share this moment with you.
I looked at her completely speechless, her cheeks flushed from my intense stare. I was lucky to meet her, no matter how long we knew each other. She'd still be as cute, smart, and bright, as loving towards her grandpa in the winter holidays. I didn't imagine my future, couldn't see myself surrounded by family. But all that was so easy with her around, almost too easy. I only needed to close my eyes to picture our future, kids and our dog. Evenings were spent beside the fireplace, walks in the woods, Mom and Julia sharing their women's secrets, Pops coming in to see his great-grandchildren. All that came to mind. So the giant tree we spent hours decorating, taking breaks of hot chocolate and cookies. Saw a smile. For that last part, that you need to close my eyes. Want to look at it forever. This ancient firework would go off. There's gotta be at least one little spark. A loud clap rang out. A fire rocket sprang into the sky, shattered into a million of bright pieces. I could see every single one of them in Julia's eyes.
Come on, make a wish.
I didn't have to think for long. There was a single person that would enter my world, stay there forever. It should be her. The granddaughter of a weird old man, cute and funny, bear girl with a bottomless stomach. I gulped my champagne in one go. Stay with me. Julia blinked in surprise, and I used that opportunity to draw her close and steal a kiss from her. This was the brightest day of my life. If every day after this would be the same, if I would be able to see her smile, I'd love to relive this life 1,000,000 times. Our lips didn't part until the very last flash of the charred fireworks blocks. Please, stay with me at any cost. I kept kissing her until the red and green sparks no longer lighted the sky. When she was finally able to catch. Of course.
Of course.
Oh.
Oh, was that? I
Yeah,
thought maybe
that is you.
Oh, okay.
soundtrack.
Relaxing, isn't
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I've missed you so much.
Oh.
How? Huh?
I thought it was over.
Oh. I missed you so much. I want to ask you so many things.
We'll have plenty of time, Wes. Most important part is that you're nearby.
Yes, but
Hmm?
I just can't wrap my head around it. Why did you sell the house?
And what's wrong with that?
It's our house. You told me our family would live here for centuries to come. Remember how you told me that I would raise my children and grandchildren here?
I do.
Then why?
Happy New Year, Julia. Girl.